time. And also like Nestle, I went to the inauguration of Barack Obama. So basically, as Sally alluded to, I kind of have a foreign perspective on this, which at first I wasn't really sure the direction that I wanted to take my fellowship, but I kind of thought a little bit more about my time. I was in Madrid for the fall semester, and so I got a Spanish perspective on U.S. politics, which I thought was something that not a lot of people would have. So Spain, they were basically really strong supporters of Obama. Their former president was a huge Bush supporter, but then in 2004, a more socialist-leaning president was elected, and his name is Jose Zapatero, and so he basically has disaligned himself from Bush, and has done so very publicly. So they're all very strong Obama supporters, and basically on election night, this is a picture from election night, we went to this theater and had a viewing party, and there were a bunch of Americans there and a bunch of Spanish people, and they kept coming up to us and congratulating us, and people would stop us on the street, and my Spanish was a little questionable, and they would say, Obama, see, see, and we'd be like, see, see. They'd be like, yay, and it was like one big party. So it was definitely an experience I would have had here. And then in terms of how it affected the Spanish media, well, you didn't see any of the negative ads, anything of that nature. I kind of enjoyed that. You saw it on the nightly news more so as the election got closer. The debates were not. It was something you had to go to CNN.com for, which kind of became my best friend. So basically, a couple of these slides might be a little similar to this, so I apologize. So I was also in DC for the 2 weeks leading up to the inauguration, and basically my favorite part was just getting to tour and see all the monuments. I hadn't been since I was 10, and I liked the dynamic of being abroad and getting another perspective of my country, and then going to my country's capital. Kind of gave me a new perspective. My personal favorite monument, just quickly, is the World War II monument. It's kind of a bad picture with Nestle and I there. It was new, and I just really liked the design of it. I thought it was very open. There will be more pictures. And then top picture is an exhibit about 9/11 at the museum. So basically, that picture is, of course, you just saw, with Linda Sanchez. That is the World War II monument on the right, and then Arlington Cemetery, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and the We Are Women concert, which I thought was a lot of people, and then I obviously saw Inauguration Day and was wrong. So basically, the Inauguration Day was January 20th, and there was about 1.8 million people. This was like at 11 a.m., this was at 11:45, so basically the same area, 45 minutes later, was completely covered. So you could just kind of see how many people there were. The wind chill was 12 degrees. I don't think any kind of clothing could prepare me for that. So, and I think this is one of my favorite pictures of the trip. I was by the Capitol reflecting pool. I was like maybe half a block away, and just to be able to look out and see all the people stretching back towards the Washington Monument was amazing. I think that was undoubtedly the most people I'd ever seen in one spot, and I think it was really nice to be able to say that I was there and that my country had voted for a change. I'm biased. I was trying to be as objective as possible. It's hard. And just to see all these people who were like crying and screaming and shouting and like they were so happy, even though it was so cold, and that was just kind of renewed my belief in my country. So I was gone during jam term, and I did an independent study with Dr. Ferguson. And basically, my focus in poli-sci is media and journalism. And so I wanted to look at any kind of media bias and how the media affected the outcome of the election. So basically, I looked at late night television shows, morning shows like The View, and then network news broadcasts. And there was a significant bias towards Barack Obama that I found. The late night comedy shows like Jay Leno, David Leno, 30 jokes about John McCain compared with only 169 about Barack Obama. The View, I'm sure you guys saw it. When John McCain came on, they asked him, you know, how many houses he owned, and they were basically grilling him on Sarah Palin, his views on abortion, and when Barack Obama came on, I think it was Barbara Walters told him that he was very handsome. So a little difference in tone, which I wanted to explore. And then also the network news broadcasts. Basically, MSNBC favored the Democrats. CNN came out kind of neutral. With MSNBC, 70% of their stories about McCain were negative, compared with only 30% on, or I'm sorry, 15% on Obama. So it is a very large difference. So these are two studies I looked at a lot during my research. They're from the Pew Research Center's Project for Excellence in Journalism. And as you can see, the first one is the tone of coverage, MSNBC versus Fox. As I said, MSNBC was considered to be more liberal, while Fox has always been considered to be a little more on the Republican side. However, as from looking at these graphs, you can see that the bias of MSNBC was a lot stronger than Fox. Fox barely favored John McCain, which really surprised me. And then also you can look at the tone of coverage immediately following the two national conventions. And you can see how a lot more stories, about 60% on McCain, were negative, compared to about 30% for Barack Obama. So basically, I found all this research, and my next question was why. I didn't just want to present anything and not have any ideas. So basically, one thing is the issue of race. I was hesitant to talk about it just because I know it is kind of a hot potato, but people basically didn't want to be seen as too critical of Barack Obama. They didn't want to offend their audiences. They didn't. This is the first time an African American had a serious shot at becoming president, and so they didn't really know how to handle it. They didn't know how to how to talk about Obama and make comments about his ideas, but not seem overly critical. So, and also the issue of his charisma, which has been likened to that of John Kennedy. And then the behavior of John McCain, basically, I found that when the polls were going down, the coverage also went down in tone. So McCain went down a lot in polls, so the coverage went down. And I attribute that because he didn't distance himself enough from the Bush administration. And then also just the bias based on fresh ideas and momentum. It's clear that when you're voting for change, you have a lot of people behind you, you kind of just get the ball rolling, and more people want to support you. So I definitely think that played another role. And then finally, I was looking at the influence of the internet. And I looked at the websites Obama and McCain, and Obama's website was clearly better. He had more registered users, links to news stories about him. He had a lot more MySpace and Facebook friends, which you may not wonder what, like, that may kind of be like, okay, how does that relate? But basically in this, it was talking about the youth played a big role in this election, and for him to be able to attract more youth really helped him, because the entertainment industry, like People magazine named him one of the sexiest men alive. I don't normally see presidents there, but it was the youth kind of propelled him into the mainstream media, and their support, I believe, really played